Welcome back, guys. Day 4 days in a row of getting this mind right. We've gone through so many cool ways, so many awesome phases to get to this. This is the meat and potatoes. This is like actually doing shit. The reason we take days to get to this point is so that you're actually doing the shit you want to do. Because a lot of us just set goals and go out and do things and show up to the office every single day without actually really realizing, like, is this what I want to do? So we've gone through detoxification. We've gone through the reset, that whole like getting your mind right. Then we really identified with who we were, who we are, and who we want to be. We've instilled kind of this mission statement, these values, this understanding of like, wow, this is like actually why I do what I do. And today it's about preparation and performance. So this is about setting the goal and how are we going to execute on that goal. And this is the thing I love the most. You guys know I always throw my monthly goals up on Instagram, and I really just love this entire process because everything that we've done to get to this point has created this clarity around goals that we actually want to do, things we actually want to set, and then how can we actually make those things happen, because goal setting is probably 10% of the battle, although it's of a massive importance. What are the things we're going to do to get there?
Yeah, our three themes for preparation and performance are prepare, adapt, and execute. The underlying theme is that preparation is key. And without proper preparation, you are leaving success to chance. And we want to guarantee results. And that comes in preparation. If you don't prepare, prepare to fail, essentially. So understanding that we need to add discipline on top of that so that we can actually perform, understanding that adaptation is essential because you will create the perfect plan and then something will get thrown off. And that is exactly where a lot of people quit because they haven't gone through any type of goal setting exercise, which we'll talk about in a minute. They haven't gone through any challenge or red teaming of that goal so that when challenge arises, they succumb to it and they quit. And then also understanding that at the end of the day, if you do not execute the perfect plan, the perfect process, the perfect template fails because we actually don't put it into action. So the first step that we take in this preparation phase is goal setting. I think a lot of people's goals fail because they don't have that mission statement and they don't have those values to fall back on in the first place. And that's exactly why we don't just set a goal at the beginning and then go through this process, because in phase one, you weren't clear enough to understand how simple and direct your goal should actually be. Then you don't identify the challenges that may hold you back as you start to pursue these goals. And then you don't have this alignment process with the way in which you want to actually act. Because if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. Your goals go left, your goals go right, and they lack focus. So the first thing is really going through this goal setting exercise. When we do that in the full program, when we start to add in routines, when we walk through foundational thinking, when we go through a full goal setting exercise, it's understanding from start to finish, breaking down that goal into really bite-sized chunks, breaking that into daily, weekly, monthly, expand it out into annually. Maybe that goes even longer in terms of breaking that larger macro goal down into smaller goals, and going from start to finish, understanding that we're always benchmarking our performance based on preparation, based on that mission statement and core values that you set in phase three.
So preparation is of massive importance. And I want to give everybody an example here. So pretend it's make your own pizza night, and we rolled out the dough. We got all the ingredients and you're putting everything on it and you're just super excited. Like, this pizza is going to be incredible. You stick it in the oven. It's supposed to cook for 30 minutes. You go out, you do your things, you come back 30 minutes later and it's the same as it looked. Well, we forgot to preheat the oven. And that's what a lot of us do. We spend so much time and like thinking about it and being like super hype. I'm going to get the gear. I'm going to do all these different things. And I'm really excited about this, but we haven't taken any time to prepare. We haven't taken any time to say, this is actually what it's going to take. And I think what's really fun about our full program is we really talk through a lot of these steps. And to your point, Jay, when you talked about the adaptation, we have to prepare for that adaptation. An example that we always talk about is how Jason and I ran the marathon, and you have big chunks of time that you have to run. Well, if something happens and you can't hit that at that exact time, you have to be able to adapt your entire schedule. So you might have to move things forward or backward or slide things around, because you can write out this perfect 100-day plan and say, if day 1 I do this, and day 2 I do this, and day 3 I do this. Well, day 4, something happens, something pops up, your work runs late, or you got to pick up your kids and you didn't think you were going to have to, or whatever it may be. How do you then adapt to that so that that doesn't fall off? Because we know in this long journey of life, if one day you take off, it doesn't matter, right? But if one day leads to 2, and then by 2 it leads to 3, and then by 3 it leads to 4, and then by 4 you're like, do I really even want to do this anymore? And then on 5 you're like, well, I've taken off a few days, I'll just take off one more, then I'll get back in it. It's 3 months later and you haven't even accomplished it because you weren't able to adapt. And so I think the preparation and the adaptation are of massive importance. And then the last thing about this is the thing that gets us the most excited, right? And this is where we actually get to perform. This is where we have to execute on the goal. We tee up the golf ball, everything's ready, it's at the perfect height. How are you going to swing? How are you going to make contact with that? How are you going to drive through that? And performance is something that we talk about a lot. We do a lot of workshops on performance with corporate environments and with teams and players and a bunch of our clients as well. And so this is where you can really start to put plan into action.
I think this is where we start to talk about other themes like visualization, understanding your intuition, especially if this is not the first time you've tried something. And it doesn't matter if you're preparing for a big speech, you're preparing for a workout, a tough conversation, maybe it's your annual review at work. All of these things apply to performance. And it's not only physical performance, but also mental performance. It's in this phase that we also talk about things like leadership, courage, how to find social support, what happens when you're actually standing there in the tee box, what type of emotions should you be focused on, how can you reframe the ones that aren't serving you. This is where we also discuss working with a coach or a mentor, understanding risk. This is really the meat and potatoes of getting things done. And it is through this phase, preparation and performance, that we can then transition into the review of how it went to then cycle all the way back to the beginning to be able to come back and perform the next time even better.
So today's worksheet is a lot about understanding these different parts of this phase and really starting to break those things down and understanding that in order to perform, you have to prepare. And in order to prepare, you have to have done all the things prior to this. And so today is all about really starting to get some things ready to rock. And it's really starting to, this is where you start to fill yourself up, and you're filling yourself up with the right things, making sure you're executing on goals that you actually want to do. And after you do today's meditation, you're going to come out and you're going to be ready to rip. So if meditation is supposed to calm you down, this one's going to get you a little bit amped up. And with that, we just really want you guys to journal about this, to take some time to think and to write, because writing these things down, if anything from this thing, writing down your goals is going to be of massive importance. And we want you guys to take some time with this one. And tomorrow we're going to focus on, I think, the most important phase of this whole thing. Tomorrow is going to be understanding. We've gone through this process. We've gone through this day after day. You've already started consistency. You're on day 4 or 5. You've done this, right? You've started this thing. Now, how do we review everything? How do we come back to the start so that we know we're actually executing on what we want to do? And within our full mindset course, we break these things down over longer periods of time so you can actually start to test and learn. And there's so much value within that. So we're super excited that you guys have finished up day 4, phase 4. This is the performance stuff, baby. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow. Have the best day ever.
Let's do it.